months, people. I read this book 3 fucking months ago. So you guys already know I'm here to do a book review for the one and only House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas. I read this book over February and March, and it's now the end of May. It has been a hot minute since I read this book, and just thank God I wrote a lot of notes as I was reading on my phone, or I would not have a concise review to film at all. And seriously, this has to be the longest it's taken for me to actually film a book review, because I've just been incredibly busy. I used to film book reviews all the time, and now I rarely do them, only when it's a book that is warranted needing a book review. And I would love to film more, because they actually are my most popular videos to film. So me not filming any means that people aren't watching me as much. Like, I'm still getting a lot of people watching, but they're the videos that always get like over 100 or 200 views, where mostly my videos stay at around like the 30 to 50 view mark. But my life's just been quite hectic. But for me, the main issue of not getting it filmed is my review book here. I have to have all my thoughts written in a concise manner, and it took me 3 months to do that, because I had a lot of notes, and I have 12 pages to go through today about my thoughts and feelings for this book. I don't know if anyone's going to want to watch all of this, because I'm a talk a lot, and I feel that predictably this is going to be at least over 30 minutes, and I'm concerned about how long it's going to take me to edit. Might be another 3 months, who knows? But I'm so glad I'm finally here to talk about it, and hopefully I still have the vibes that I had when I first read it. Obviously it's a book too, there's going to be lots of spoilers in this review, but if you haven't read the book, just know you need to pick it up. I know a lot of people are probably waiting until like book 3 and 4 come out, but honestly, you need to read it now to be up with the hype of the thing. Like, it took me 2 weeks to read this, and I read it pretty close to when release happened, so at least I wasn't spoiled for things. But I feel like this is going to be like heavily, people are going to get spoiled for what happens in this book. But I loved it so much. I feel like the introduction of many multiple POVs was done really well. I liked the way that the story progressed. There was a lot of things that happened that shocked the fuck out of me, and I will get into detail about those things, but I loved it. I don't think it suffered from second book syndrome, and I recommend. And now I'm going to talk about all the things. Obviously I have my little intro there, but I still just want to say again, I loved having extra POVs. I loved that we got to understand Rune's character more, Ethan's character more, and Tharion's character more. I loved having them in the addition of the story, and literally I know some people are really annoyed about Tharion. They thought he was kind of really boring, but I really enjoyed his chapters as well. There was no point when I was like, oh, I'm onto this character again, and I wanted to know about other things. Every character's point of view had a point. It had a purpose to be there. And after we dealt with the whole Manon issue, I'm trusting Sarah whenever she just randomly brings in new stuff. So I really enjoyed it. And honestly, the story was gonna just be bigger than Bryce and Hunt's character arc and their character story, and I'm excited that it got expanded in this manner. But on the other hand, having more POVs gave me the concern that Bryce and Hunt were not going to be able to tell the story anymore. So I was dying just slightly, because I'm like, who's gonna fucking die? Who's gonna be fucking trapped? Who's not gonna be able to tell us what's going on because they are unable to? And then Rune's gonna bring up the slack here. I'm so glad that that didn't happen, but also I don't know where book 3 is gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen. And again, the best part of this book was how many fucking plot twists there was. There was shit just flying out of nowhere. Like, there's some things that happen that I'm like, how? How is this a thing? She freaking foreshadows everything, and so many things in this book I did not see happening. And I feel like I was stressed a lot of the time during this book, because I was always expecting the worst, and the things that happened weren't what I expected, but they weren't the worst thing necessarily, but just interesting things. And these two things I feel like are generally housekeeping things about the format and things that I enjoy in the book, but I have a lot of thoughts, and I hope it's in a concise manner that people are going to understand, because when I was trying to write it, I didn't know what order I wanted to talk about things, but hopefully it all makes sense. I feel like I'm so babbling, and I've already filmed for 7 minutes. Like, this is going to be like a disaster, this review, I swear. Officially, this is it. This is the full start of the review, okay? But my biggest worry throughout this book was that Bryce and Hunt weren't going to be endgame. After Crescent City, we were all concerned about this, because yes, there was Connor, who Bryce was like gonna go on a date with, but then he died, and it's like, okay, nothing really happened there. And then she meets Hunt, and then it's like, oh my god, I'm so in love, and we're like magical beings, and we're gonna be together forever. And I was like, bitch, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. You have burned me twice before. Why would it not happen again in the third book? I talked about this in my review of the first book, and I was hesitant going in. I didn't want to get attached because I was already attached, because they were already at like Faison and Rowlena levels of love. Still hadn't slept together though, which is another thing that I enjoyed about their relationship. But I do officially feel like they're solid and tight, okay? Like, I feel like it's happening. If it doesn't happen, she has to write something amazing to make me not want her to be with Hunt anymore, like, I swear to God. But coming on to the no sex thing, the no sex pact was freaking genius. I was so mad in the first book when they never had sex, because I'm like, bruh, you always make them have these like bang sessions of empowerment and like craziness, and like, oh my god, my mind's like blown. And then we didn't get no bang sesh, and I was like, excuse me, rude. So here, when they're like, oh, we're not gonna have sex until this specific date of like Christmas or something, and the sexual tension that oozed from them was golden. I thought this was perfectly written, and I love the fact that every second of every day they're just thinking about banging, they're thinking about fucking, they're like, we're gonna do it, and then they decide to break the date, which is my favorite thing, because I love it, because they want to get to know each other, because obviously they've got this high intense love, but then they nearly fucking died, and there's a lot of stress around that, so they just didn't want it to be physical. It's actually really smart thinking, but I love that they're like, nah, can't wait no longer, we're in love, we're doing it. And then Hunt gets grounded for 2 weeks, and it was fucking golden. I was obsessed, okay? I love that that was cock-blocked on him. He's just like, Celeste, I need to have sex with my girl, and you're leaving me inside all by myself for 2 weeks. Like, nah. Like, I was dying. It was the funniest thing in the whole entire book, without a doubt. And then something else stopped it, and then another thing stopped it, and I'm like, it ain't happening. It's not gonna happen. And then we've got Sarah following the trend of having sex anywhere but a normal spot, okay? Like, it had to be specifically a moss garden too. Like, it couldn't just be like in the forest. It has to be in a moss garden on a submarine, and like it's just so dumb. Like, she literally cannot have them just have sex in a bed. It has to be on a beach, or it has to be on a roof, or in the sky, anywhere but somewhere normal. Like, this isn't what I want, okay? Because I'm concerned about the people that could see them. I'm concerned about the dynamics, about the moss in areas. Like, it's a concern. And of course, they're banging it out, and then it's like, oh my god, you're my mate, because we're banging and I can feel the vibes, and I'm just like, come on. Sarah seriously thought she could convince us that mates were a rare thing. Like, girl, every fucking person and their mum has one. And of course, they're like, oh, we don't really have mates, but we are. It's so annoying every fucking single time. But I do like the fact that she teleported them to some random staircase in the submarine, and again, someone could walk past. I was concerned about that as well. And also a note on it, right, is she's all like, oh yeah, every book doesn't have Fae in it, every book doesn't have this in it, and every book doesn't have winnowing. And she's like, oh, I'll be really sneaky and I'll call it teleportation instead of winnowing. The hell? Like, every series has this power, and it's like, girl, mates and winnowing are like the bad things in this story now. And then, obviously, because we had to have another cock block here, the introduction of Cormac had me fucking stressed, okay? Was anyone else concerned? Because I was like, damn, I was already thinking of what was gonna happen here. Because he's all like, oh, we're gonna get married, and Bryce is like, the fuck, bitch? And she's like, Dad, the fuck? And like, everyone was like, no. But then I was thinking he was gonna be like this ultra bad villain, and like, he was gonna try and kill everyone, and then the only option was she was like, had to marry him, and then would have to like live in his dungeon cave while he was just like making babies or something. Like, I was concerned. I thought this was going to be the dynamic of where they were split up, because she had to do it to save everyone, and it could have been a part of the rebellion in a way that Cormac was like working with Asteri. Like, I was concerned. And then I love the reveal of him just being Agent Silverbow, Sophie's boyfriend from that weird first chapter. Like, the relief I felt that he wasn't a bad guy. Like, he's still a dick, but he's already in love, he's part of the rebellion, he's doing shit to try and fix the world, and the relief. And I love the fact that he then starts working with them, and then he's also the person that shows the winnowing teleportation to Bryce. So, like, I liked that dynamic of it just really spinning on its head, and then I was like, oh great, they're not gonna obviously get married if he's already in love with someone else. That was great. Like, I just didn't see that coming. I really thought it was gonna go in the bad territory of bad shit happening. So relieved. And this is what made the Sophie mystery so much more intriguing to me, because it's like, Cormac's such a dick. how did he get her to even fall in love with him for the first part, but also the mystery of, is she alive? Because I thought she was gonna be alive, because like when she was like in the ocean and then the shackles were free and they're like, oh, maybe, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be exciting. Like I thought she was gonna be like this really big key power player. And I was devastated when I found out she was dead. But I liked the way that Sophie was introduced in the story, because obviously with the epilogue it was about her, you know, having this information and wanting to get her brother and really trying to get out of there, and then she does die. But I liked that this was just chucked in there and then we go back to the others and it's like, how was it gonna connect? I liked the way that it was threaded into the story of it, like starting to relate to Bryce and to Hunt, and like Tharion was the one it was related to first, and then the Autumn King was related, and how they just started to have this big ass manhunt looking for a meal. I loved the way that this was the main storyline, but also kind of like a cover for a lot of other things that were going on at the same time. And I also liked the introduction of Firebird Magic, and it's really cool magic. And please tell me I'm not the only one that thought it was very similar to what Hunt could do, because it's like a fire and light magic, and he does lightning, and his power kind of does similar things. And I started to have these theories of like, oh, what if they're like related? Like what if Hunt's their dad, or his mum never died and she's their mum and they're related? Like I thought there had to be some connection there, and then nothing came of it. So I don't know if there still could be a connection, because obviously there is this connection with Thur that I think that he is most likely going to be Hunt's dad. But also, like, could Thur be related to the Firebirds? Like, I know that they tried to kill out all the Firebirds because it's such an intense magic, but they still let Hunt live. There is definitely something here not revealed yet. And even the cover has some shit going on here, because he's half Fae on this side and then he's Angel on this side. And obviously everyone's a Fae. We all freaking have this reveal happen later, and I'll talk about it later, but this is interesting to me as well. Like, was this staring us in the face the whole time? It is Thur. I keep wanting to say Thor, but it is Thur, I think. Is he gonna come into the story? Like, is he a person that's alive, or is he just a statue? I'm intrigued by this whole mystery as well. And then Sarah pulls her old sneaky, oh, even though I have a POV and I tell you all my thoughts, I'm gonna hide this big thing that no one knows about until I reveal it. And of course it happened to Bryce, because like Risa and Bryce and Aelin are all fucking similar, and they all do the same thing. So I love that Bryce knew where Emil was the whole time. And then she sent him to the Viper King, which was freaking risky. And then she just goes and gets him, and then Hunt's all like, why didn't you tell me? Because seriously, you need to tell people these things, because what if Bryce just suddenly died and then no one knew where he was? Like, these need to have backup plans happening. But I love that she sends him to her parents and they adopt him. Like, that is so cute, because he's lost his freaking sister and he has nowhere to go, and her parents are so lovely, and I think that was the sweetest thing in this whole entire story. I loved it so much. But I also love the reveal that he wasn't a Firebird. Like, I generally was convinced that he had the same powers as Sophie. Like, I really thought that was also going to be a thing, that he was going to come in and do stuff. So to reveal that he's normal was like, again, I just didn't see that coming, and I was just like, damn. So obviously we already had that mystery happening, but the other major mystery for me was, who the fuck was Agent Day? And like, of course it had to be someone we already knew and was already established. And my first guess was Hypaxia, because I hardcore shipped Rude and Hypaxia, because they have the arranged marriage, they haven't really seen each other much, and I loved the way in the first book it was revealed that she was the healer that was helping Bryce, and Rune had interacted with her and didn't know it was her. And then when he sees her at the meeting and he's like, oh shit, I know you. Like, I thought there was vibes happening there. So I thought it'd be really interesting that, because obviously she's the queen of the witches or whatnot, and she doesn't like the way things are happening, and she feels like the witches don't trust her because her dad has the necromancy magic, that I really thought it'd be interesting if she decides to be rebellious but do it in the shadows. But the thing that made me turn off it is there was a lot of things not lining up. There was things that Day was talking about that possibly couldn't be Hypaxia, so I decided to change what I was thinking here. And then my next thought was it was Celestina. She was thrown into this role that she wasn't happy with, and then she was forced into making a new Archangel baby. So then they picked a male for her that she had to have sex with to try and make this baby, and you could tell that she was uncomfortable with the situation as well. And also, she just seemed a lot nicer than any other Archangel we'd met. And to be honest, I thought it was just like a con here. Like, I thought it was just fake to try and get them to like talk about the rebellion or something. But she does generally seem quite lovely, and I like that she wanted them to have better living conditions friends and she wanted to talk to them. And the way that she wanted to get to Hunt and get him out of Sandrincourt's hands like 200 years ago and wanted to pay for him, but she couldn't afford to save him, that was a really sweet touch. And it did line up with Day having to be like abruptly waken up by this male that kept wanting to have sex with her and stuff. And I really thought it was gonna be a thing. And then both my fucking theories crash and burn when we just walk in on them fucking making out in a closet. Like, I was thrown, okay? I was thrown away because I did not see this coming. Like, I love the idea of this pairing because they are so beyond never going to be able to happen, because like, she's the Queen of Witches, she's the Archangel, they have roles that they have already been set aside, and Celestine has actually already broken it off and wished she doesn't love her. And I didn't see this coming. Like, where did this even happen? Like, all this stuff that keeps happening behind closed doors, like, I don't see it coming. But I was thrown, and my Hypatia Rune relationship died in my soul, and that was so sad for me. But I was like, oh, like, I just, was anyone else shocked? I was beyond shocked. And then my last theory, because I didn't know who else it could possibly fucking be, was Lydia the Hind. It was the only other possible person that it could make sense for, because obviously it couldn't be anyone that we were too friendly with, and she is villainous enough that it would be such a good plot twist that she flipped. And then it started me thinking that maybe Pollux, who she's been with for the last like 300 years, is actually an abusive prick, and we already knew that, but it seemed like she was into it. And maybe she's just been pretending this whole time and he's actually a mega dick. And at this point, she is so deep undercover that this persona that she has is almost becoming her, and she almost is this monster that she's pretending to be. And even though she could be trying to help them, there's not much that she can really do, but she is in such a high power of standing that she can do things, but obviously with the link that they have, because Rune never found out who she was. They were just night and day, because he had the dark magic and she had the light magic, and she finds out who he is, but he didn't find out who she was for the longest time. And lo and behold, I was fucking right after 3 times. So technically I failed at trying to guess who this was, but still I guessed it before it did get revealed, and I'm proud of that. And like, yes, my soul hurts for a relationship that's not going to happen, but I'm kind of obsessed with the Rune and Lydia dynamic. I think that she's going to have an amazing redemption arc, because obviously she has done a lot of bad shit. Even though there is times that she's tried to help them, constantly she's tried to help them in the smallest way that she can, but she does have a lot to answer for. But to be honest, Hunt has hurt a lot of people. Hunt has done a lot of bad stuff, and I know that he was being kind of controlled, but he also had free will over the things that he was doing. It's just because he's like, oh, I'm asleep, I have to kill people. It's like, she did the same thing. Baxian did the same thing. Pollux has done the same thing, except he fucking enjoys it and he's a freaking weird bitch. She is gonna have an amazing redemption, is my theory. But not gonna lie, the weird dream sex was just, I hated it. It was so weird. It was so weird. It's like, it doesn't count if it's in your mind, okay? I hate it because I've read another book that did it and I hated it too. I don't know. It's a weird cringe for me. It's weird cringe. Like, I need them to do it, like again, why is it with weird sex, okay? It's weird sex times. Sarah, stop it. And like, oh my god, actually too, with the dream sex, when Lydia was like whisked away, obviously by Pollux, and then he knew something was wrong, and then she knew something was wrong, and then Rune was freaking out, and he's like, I need to save my girlfriend. We just had sex in my dream. I need to find her. And I'm like, back it up. But like, his sadness over her being hurt was like so endearing. Like, he wanted to save her so badly, and I love it. And now, I need to talk about Danica for a hot minute, man. I've always praised Danica and Bryce for their amazing friendship. Like, every video when I have to talk about friendships, I always praise them because it's so interesting that it's a friendship that transcends death. Like, they're still as connected as they used to, even though she can't talk to Danica anymore. And you can just tell how important they were to each other. And this book has made me come to realize how fucking bad of a friend Danica actually was. She told her girl nothing. If she just confided in Bryce, she probably would still be fucking alive because she's dumb. I still love their friendship, but I am mad that there are so many things that could have been avoided if she just told her best friend things. Bryce literally told her everything, and she even used the things that Bryce told her against her, and then kept all the secrets. Like, the horn on the back was enough of a secret as it was, but there's too much going on now. 1, she's a bloodhound. News to me. It's probably going to be important, but it's mainly more important because of Mordok, who is her fucking father, who is also a bloodhound, who is then able to find them when they're doing shady shit. And of course, the fact that he's her father doesn't mean shit to me. I don't really care. But it is still important that this is a connection that we could have known about, and then maybe there could have been like some magic that they could have used to mask it. There could have been some workaround here. And the big one, she has a fucking mate. A mate! And it's Baxian! Where did this come from? And okay, just putting a little extra bit in here, you know, tangent. I love him. I could tell he was gonna be a fucking great character from the start. And yes, it was very obvious when it was like, maybe he's not as mean as the other people and he's actually like a good guy. And again, he's kind of a character like Lydia. Like, he's had to do bad things in his life to survive. And that is the difference of all these things. Like, they need to understand that they're being very two-faced about it if they think Lydia can't be redeemed, because they've all done shit. And I love the way that like everything is so new to him in Crescent City, and he has to learn what a phone is and like watch TV, and like it's so wholesome. And I just loved him so much. And then to find out that he was a rebel sympathizer was really great touch, and I wasn't shocked by that at all, because like, of course baby, you are, of course you are. And the way that he just had their backs on so many occasions, he just kept popping up everywhere, and I'm like, babe, I love you. You are so good to this story. And back to Danica, okay, back to the point, is where the fuck did she have time to find him? Like, how did this happen? Like, obviously they were together for like 2 years and they saw each other maybe once every 3 months to obviously bang it out like everyone else, but I can't believe she didn't tell Bryce this. And also how Bryce was like, oh yeah, Danica stopped like having sex like about 2 years ago at the clubs. Like, I feel like she shouldn't have guessed it though, because she hid it so well. But it just makes me so mad that this happened. And I'm so heartbroken for Baxian, because he's such a good guy and he lost the love of his life. It just brings me pain. And of course she knew Sophie, and she's the reason that Sophie was trying to find out lots of information for the rebellion. Even though Danica wasn't in the rebellion, she still did stuff to find out information, and sadly she died before she can find out what Sophie knew. But again, I hate that she just has these connections and you don't tell your best friend. Isn't it the rule that you tell your best friend everything? Like, that is the thing that makes sense to a lot of friendship. Like, she kept too many secrets, and I'm actually kind of mad that Bryce wasn't angry about it. Like, she was getting angry, but not to the level that I am. She should be going to the freaking Deadland place and just being like, Danica, what the fuck, girl? Like, we're meant to be best friends and you tell me nothing. Like, I wanted anger, and I didn't get enough anger. Okay, and then getting to the conclusion of this book where shit really started to go down completely. So the main question throughout this book that Bryce and Hunt were trying to answer is, should they join the rebellion? Because they know what it's going to mean if they join. Because the Asteri, obviously after they did all the shit at the end of the first book, they're like, you need to lay dough and do nothing in your lives or we will kill you. So joining the rebellion is completely dishonoring that request. It's interesting because Bryce is the one that wants to join more, and Hunt is obviously very reserved because he tried to rebel and it didn't work and he was enslaved for 200 years. So it's understandable that he's hesitant, but he does realize, and they all realize, that they need to do something to make the world a better place. And they still didn't know how involved they wanted to be at this point, but Bryce was adamant that she needed to find out what Sophie knew to honor Danica, even though it's dumb, but she needed to honor her. And they decide to go into the Eternal City, and it's the home of the Asteri, and they break in, and then Bryce obviously uses her winnowing to get in there, because of course we need this power in the book. And I know shit's gonna go down. There's only 50 pages left to go. It's gonna be bad, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. And respectively, what the fuck? They are food. They are food, and the Asteri eat them. I was so like, not even in 100 years I thought this was where it was gonna go. It's Soylent Green, okay? I was just like chanting that throughout the experience, and I'm like, ah! And it's of course like they suck the energy from the afterlife, what's first life, and then next life or something. Like, they do the drop, and then they go to the underworld, and then they're chilling, and then they go through the gates, and then they suck it up. And it's disgusting. And the fact that they modified the species like a millennia ago so that they could get even more energy from them, from the power that they use, and lo and behold, everyone that's here started as a fucking fae. Okay, what the hell? What? Like, she's all like, oh no, there's no fae in this series, and they're literally all fae. Like, what? It was like the most annoying reveal. And it was also funny too, because when they were like looking at all the different universes and how they're like, this is a universe that we've already sucked dry and this is one we could go to, I was looking for like clues of if it was going to be like Perinthian or Terrasan, and I think there might have been a couple of sentences there, and I was very excited about all the things, but seriously, their food. And then it went to complete shit. Like, it was already shit, but then the complete shit is they all got captured. And this was my concern because, you know, my favorite trope's coming. It's coming, you know, when the love interests get split apart for a whole fucking book. Literally split apart by dimensions here as well, which is annoying. But Hunt saves Bryce. He's like, okay, and he like shoots lightning at her because that's how her magic works, is she needs his power to use it and to teleport as well. But he goes to the back and activates the horn, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go to hell, and she, you know, she jumps and she's fucking out, and then we're left with the boys and they're still captured. And it was really sweet too, because Lydia comes in and she's like, I'm gonna save you, even though she couldn't do much because she tried to save them, but once there was other people there she had to act like the Hind again. But like Rune's devastation when he found out it was her, like that hurt my soul as well. So Rune, you need to stop being a dick about it, but I love that she tried to save them, but they couldn't do much. And then even Baxian turned up to help save them, and it wasn't enough either. And then the Asteri put the halo back on Hunt, and my soul cracked, okay? Because he worked so hard to get rid of the damn thing, and Hypaxia got rid of it the first time, and then he finally wasn't a slave anymore. So now his powers are limited again, and I don't know if Hypaxia is going to be able to save him this next time. And his power is what helps Bryce activate. So how does she get back without his power? Like, did they think about that before he just chucked her out through the portal? Like, I don't know. And like, Baxian was there freaking out and yelling because he knew he was next, and then Rune's just like fucking slumped on the floor, and that's where it ends for them. And then we come back to Bryce. And like, so she's meant to go to hell, and then she just pops up in this forest, and then this winged male is there talking in this weird language, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god. And then he takes her somewhere, and then there's all these other winged males and these females, and they're all fey, and they're all yelling at her, and they're trying to figure out what language she's talking. And the fuck is Ryzen doing there? Like, the fuck is he doing there? I still can't believe it. Like, this is still such a shock to me. Like, I have so many questions, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to insert a clip now, because thankfully I did end up filming something for this review like 10 minutes after I finished this book, and I'm so sorry that the lighting is bad. You probably can't see me very well. I don't have a bra on, so it's moving a little bit, and I'm in my pajamas, but I film my raw panic, and I will put it here now. I don't even know what to say. It's finished. It's finished. It's... What the actual fuck is happening? I can't. We have a crossover. We have a fucking crossover. What? Like I stressed out because obviously when they were talking about the places that the Asteri have like taken over, I was like, please don't talk about like Perinthian or Terrasan, because the fuck. And like, oh my god, like I have too many emotions about this. Like, I am actually fucking stressed now. Like, we have to wait 2 more years, two more to know what is going on. It is 1:30 in the morning and I'm totally not prepared to do this. I'm not prepared. This isn't even a review. This is just me needing to talk to you because I finished it 10 minutes ago. Oh my god. Like, when she landed and then there was that guy there that had wings, I was like, like, okay, like, they're obviously gonna have, like, people in hell that have this stuff. But when they said it was, like, the scarred hands, I was like, it's Azrael. Like, it's gotta be. And then he's, like, taking her somewhere, and they don't even speak the same language, and he's trying to talk to her, and then this tiny little chick with black hair comes in, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Amram. But I'm thinking, this isn't gonna happen, right? Because the last time we got a crossover, it was just, you know, it was just a blip. It was just a drop. And I was obsessed about that. And then there's Reset. And he looks like her, like Rune. Like, why do Rhysand and Rune look the same? Are they related? Like, is Bryce what his sister would have looked like if she grew up? Like, my brain can't handle this. Does this mean that the bloodline isn't over because, like, Rhysand's alive? And, like, why do they know this language from 1500 years ago? Does this mean that Amram is an Asteri? Like, she came through a rift into Prythian? Like, does she know about them? Does she, like, she's forgotten who she is? Is she one of these fae that have been changed to be, like, their own thing? Like, there's always been something special about her. Did Sarah J. Maas know this from the minute that she first wrote ACOTAR? Like, what's Bryce gonna do? She doesn't have her phone. Like, I'm just stressed. Oh yeah, I'm stressed. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen with this information. Does this mean that Bryce is gonna be in a book later on? Like, when does this take place? Like, has the baby been born? Has there been other things happening? I don't know. How are they going to communicate with her if they can't even speak the same freaking language? Like, I don't know what is going to happen here. I am beyond, like, this is, like, everyone told me it was gonna be bad. They're bad. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm like dying. It's seriously a multiverse crossover, and I was expecting a small detail, as I said, when they were looking at all the different planets, and Bryce was like, oh, these are all so many different places. But I was expecting there to be something small, but not actually Rhysand. Like, what? I don't know how this is gonna go, and I kind of hope that they come back with her to Crescent City and they know what a phone is. I don't know why I'm so excited. Like, I feel like Cassia would be awed by Crescent City, and I don't know. Like, I obviously feel like it has to be like a training montage segment happening, but I just don't know where it's gonna go. And again, I'm so stressed about it, but I'm so excited. And I'm so sorry, this review was already really, really long, but I just had some dot points that I just wanted to quickly talk about that I feel. So for one, getting into the dirty here, but Rune. Sweet Rune's first scene is just a girl sitting on his face. I lolled so hard and I was obsessed. And I really want Ethan to get Danica's sword because I really have this vibe that he's going to become an alpha and he needs to have the sword. It needs to happen. And also the scene when they're all in the water and Lydia's there and they get in the submarine and, like, the meaning behind the rocks broke my heart a little bit, but I loved it so much. And also the rebels kind of low-key suck. Like, both sides suck in this war, okay? Because the Asteri are fucking eating ya, the rebels are fucking killing ya, and I think they need to, like, make their own new little crew of, like, people getting the shit fixed. And oh my god, we have more fire spirits, and I'm so sad because I miss Lahemia, but, like, they're so cute, and I love that Ethan saves them. And also, I feel like Adrienne, however you say her name, I feel like she's gonna be important, but my theory is that she knows Amren. And my thought too is Amren is actually from the world of Crescent City. She was one of the ones that was the beings that were sent away, because we've always known that there's been some mystery around her, but I also feel like Fury could also be connected to them because they've all got some weird vibe and darkness thing going on, and I wonder if Amren comes to this world, she may actually remember who she is, because I strongly still believe that she is a dragon because she does love trinkets and cute things, and I get the vibe from her. So I feel like there has to be a connection there. The Autumn King truly sucks ass, okay? And the fact that he changed Bryce's name was such a violation of trust that I hate him. And again, what does Sarah have against weddings? Like, can we get this answered? And the last big reveal, you know, because we obviously had the last chapter where it was like, my fucking soul has left my body, and then there was that epilogue that no one gives a fuck about. But still, there is another Fender heir, and this is just great because it means Sabine can just fuck right off, because damn, I really am intrigued by this. Like, the whole idea of having these, like, weird mystic things, and it kind of made me think of Minority Report when they're all in the tubes and they can see the future and know what crimes are happening. Like, that was really interesting as well. But I think that Ethan is obviously going to be in love with this girl, but I hope that she, like, remembers things about who she is. It's just very interesting. Literally, my camera is dying and I'm trying to get through the rest of this review, but that's all my thoughts thoughts and feelings. I know this is a long video. If anyone actually gets to the end of this, please send me like a blue heart emoji. I never do this because, I mean, I always respond to people's emojis, but I am terrible at thinking up emojis till I do. But I would love to know if anyone actually makes it to the end and loves my rambling thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I'm so sorry it is so incredibly late, but I had so much fun filming this, and now I'm in my thoughts again. But anyway guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!